So we're already having technical difficulties. I swear to you, if anything wants to break down or can break down, it will break down. It's like the Murphy's Law of streaming. So hopefully nothing else goes wrong. What's up, guys? How you doing? God, I hate Tumblr so much for what they've done. Y'all, it's... instead of Fusro Da, it's Control Alt Control Alt Delete. Yeah, I remember going to Tumblr like back in the day. Like, I think this was like 2015, 2014, maybe slightly earlier than that. And I can remember going on there because it was funny. Like, I'd go there and there would be otherkin and, you know, all the buzzwords that are so common now, like ableism, transgenderism, gender fluidity, all that stuff. It was all on Tumblr. These people were, like, just divulging how idiotic and stupid they were on Tumblr. And I would go there because it was like going to a circus and going to the freak show. You know what I'm talking about? Like, there'd be the bearded lady, you know, the half wolf man. I don't know. You'd go there and these people would just be divulging all of their insanity onto Tumblr. And I used to go there and just check it out because I'm like, man, we got some weirdness going on in our society, but thank God it's not mainstream. Thank God we live in a relatively sensible world. And then those people were actually college students that were being trained up by these professors to think this way, to say all this stuff. And then they got sent out into the real world, where we thought the real world was going to recondition them to be normal human beings, and that just was not the case. They were being trained to take that crazy into the real world, into corporations and businesses, into social circles and all that stuff. And now, look at them. Now, their idiocy is the mainstream. That sounds so depressing. Like, this is a depressing stream. You having the same issue with Mojo 50 as having... I guess maybe it's just a day for issues. It's just a day for technical issues. But it's okay. Really, the only thing that's really breaking down is my mute button. The mute button doesn't seem to want to work. So it's whatever. It's whatever. So long as everything else works. Does everything else work? Everything else? Yep, everything else works. We're good to go. It's no big deal. But yeah, so I don't know. I think that it hit the mainstream, and thanks to social media, these people seemed a lot bigger than they actually were, as far as like group size goes. And you had businesses actually believing, because like they one of the things they did was infiltrate the media. By the way, this is not what we're talking about. We're talking about Joe Biden today. But they infiltrated the media. They became a part of the major corporations. They became a part of major social media networks and all that stuff. And they just transformed them to be absolutely... You see it. You see it today. Like, you cannot say basic things, scientific things. You can't talk about this or that without getting banned off platforms. You've got major media news organizations backing up, you know, the most anti-science nonsense. Whether it's biological men and women, and you know, they're trying to celebrate people like Leah Thomas winning awards as a woman. It's like, dude, that's not a woman. That's a dude. That's a dude. Can't say that. But they've got mainstream media talking about it that way. You've got... And you can't talk about, like, the people who were transitioning or transitioned. Can't talk about them and want them and want to go back. You can't talk about them. That's off limits. So they've got mainstream media, they've got social media, and so they've appeared much larger than they actually were. And they convinced these corporations to go and take these huge social justice stances, which is why you see places like Oreo. Did y'all see that thing from Oreo where it was like they had this... Can we just real fast, can we watch that real fast? I actually didn't watch the entire thing, but I kind of want to. I kind of want to watch this Oreo thing. And for those of you who don't know what happened, Oreo came out with this, like, coming out thing? Yeah. Here it is. Get Leslie Tanner. For those of you who don't know who Leslie Tanner is, on my other stream, my Twitch stream, which is non-political, I tend to raid out to this guy named Leslie Tanner who has a talk show. By the way, twitch.tv/the Morse Code. If you're just looking for a good time, no politics, you know, we just hang out, play video games, have good chats. We raid out to this guy named Leslie Tanner on Twitch, and he has the weirdest talk show I've ever seen in my life. It's like, when you first get there, you're like, what the heck is this? I don't know about this. And then the more you watch it, you're like, I'm kind of getting addicted. He just started, but it's so fun. Okay, let's watch this commercial just real fast. I kind of want to see this. Let's check it out.
我们都是一家人。你们绕过半个地球来着，就是想给我们更好的生活。可是我是
Say it. Say it.
可是我爱你。
Coward. Coward.
爱。
This is so art house. Like, this is I don't know what it is about this movie. This is already just one of the worst things. Like, the tension is thick. They're trying to make it seem like it's like, what are they gonna say next? I'm already bored, is the issue here. I'm already bored.
我爱你。
I think you're ready.
Oh, he was coming out to his friends, or like his friends knew. Gotta get an Oreo real quick.
你呢？你 ready 了吗？
Wait, who's the gay person? Is it her or him? Are they like a family? Like, what's going on here? What's up, April? Wait, that's it? That's everything? Was that the end? Coming out doesn't just happen once. Be a lifelong ally. P flag. Okay, so like what? I don't understand what the point of that was. Why? And what I mean is not just the... I'm not talking about just the commercial itself, like the plot. Like, I'm talking about, why did Oreo feel the need to do this? And I think it really just, to answer my own question, I think it goes back to Oreo has been convinced, either they've been overtaken by these people, or they've been convinced that this is what people want to see. That they want their company to be more social justice-y, more woke and stuff like that. But, like, what does it really matter? Like, were the gay people just not buying up cookies and they were trying to shore up their support in the gay community? Or was this about trying to get the gay community to make Oreo, like, their primary cookie? Their cookie of record? Like, I don't get it. Like, you're a cookie, bro. And you're the most famous cookie in the world, or at least in the West. I don't know what they're doing in China. But you're the most famous cookie. Everyone knows what an Oreo is. Okay, it's like a primary ingredient in any ice cream. So often. I'm very confused as to why they felt perfect commercial for Easter. I'm just very confused as to what they thought they were going to accomplish with this. It makes no sense. People were going to buy Oreo anyway, but now I kind of wonder how many people are just going to be like, if Oreo's going to shove this stuff down my throat, I'm out. I'll go to Hydrox. By the way, very unfortunate name for a cookie, but Oreo is actually a ripoff of Hydrox, from what I understand. But I'm very confused. I don't know. It just seems kind of out of left field. I don't know who they were trying to appeal to or why. Why are they trying to introduce social justice messaging into this, into a dessert, effectively? Here's the other thing. Literally 3%. People think that because of all the media interjections and advertising and, you know, pride parades and all this stuff, people think that a large chunk of our population is actually gay. It's not. 3% of the population in America is actually gay, or considered LGBT of some kind, I should say. So are they trying to get that 3% to make them like the primary cookie that they go and buy? And then at the end of the day, if that is actually true, and that was their aim, they're trying to make the LGBT community buy Oreos. Do they actually support the LGBT community? Or are they just using them for money? Just something to think about. Just something to think about. When you wanted to go to Sundance, but you got stuck in advertising. True. What's up, Badger? How you doing, man? Welcome. So you're saying Neapolitan ice cream was ahead of the social curve? Yeah, they were the first. They were the first one to put some rainbow flag color. I don't know. Sherbet, actually, maybe? Maybe sherbet? It's so stupid. All of it's just so stupid. If I was a gay person and I saw that, I'd be like, what are you trying to say to me? What are you trying to appeal to me for? Makes no sense. I'd actually... Dude, there's so much I would be insulted by if I was a gay person. If I was gay or bi or trans and they kept coming at me with this nonsense, I'd be like, y'all better freaking quit right now, because I gotta tell you, these are like embarrassing attempts to get me to like you. You're trying to sympathize with me. If you really want to sympathize with a gay person, treat them like a human being. Stop treating them like they're like they're in need of protection. I feel like people are going to start waking up to that soon, and you already kind of see it here and there. But they're like, man, these people really think that I need their help, and they need dude. Here in the United States, in this day and age, being gay and LGBT and all that stuff is not. It's like it's almost super common. It's so common. It's like gray on a rat common. You know, you're gonna run into somebody who's gay at some point in time, and they're accepted. We've got pride parades. We've got shows like LGBT representation here and there. Like, people are just, it's there. It's not like the issue that it used to be anymore. And yet they're still starting to like pile on this nonsense. If I was gay, I'd be like, y'all just stop. Can y'all just treat me like a normal person, please? Please. Because that was the whole point. We just wanted to be treated like normal people. And here you are making us out to be this special group that needs protection and your help and your advocacy and like, just let it go. Leave it out. So you're saying, oh, I read that. Happy hump day, Susie Moore. What's up? How you doing? Yeah, it is Wednesday. This week feels like it's just dragging. I don't know why. It just feels like it's going so slow. I spent the last 2 days thinking it was Thursday in the back of my mind. Today we're going to talk about an issue the Democrats are having. I want to focus on the Democrats today. Specifically, I want to focus on Joe Biden because I kind of felt I was on Mojo 50 earlier this morning, and we started talking about Joe Biden, and I couldn't help but feel sorry for the guy. He is clearly not the biggest dog in the room. Not only is he not the biggest dog in the room, he's the weakest dog in the room. And as Tucker Carlson said last night, which we're going to get into here in a minute, whenever you're in a pack of wild dogs and one of them becomes sick and lags behind and is pretty much at that point in time useless, they'll kill the dog. They'll kill each other. They'll tear them apart. And I feel like that is happening right now to Joe Biden. He served out his usefulness. Now he's not useful anymore. Now, in fact, he's a detriment to the pack because he is clearly turning the United States against the Democrat Party. Clearly. And you can kind of see in the way that they treat him and talk about him now, they're still having to defend him in terms of other things like the Hunter Biden laptop fiasco and all that stuff. And he's become more of a liability than a boon, if you will. So we're going to talk about that today. Isn't Susie from Missouri? Susie is from Missouri. At least, right? I think so. I hope so. Because otherwise, this is going to be really embarrassing. But let's talk about this stuff. So, for those of you who didn't see it last night, or earlier, I should say, Joe Biden had Barack Obama over to the White House to give a speech, and it was clearly a way to kind of re-energize the Democrat Party. Because, yeah, I mean, like, look, you wheel out Barack Obama. Barack Obama used to be, like, the Messiah, man. He was the Democrat Party. He was charismatic, powerful. He could talk you into anything kind of person. He walks into a room. He was personable. People loved him. He was just a really good time for Democrats. He got elected twice, you know. He was a really good time for Democrats. Loved it. Then, after Barack Obama left, something shifted in the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party started to drift further and further and further to the left until the only acceptable kind of leader was, for the Democrats at least, was these radical extremists. You had like Elizabeth Warren, you had Kamala Harris, and all these people talking this absolute Beto O'Rourke, talking all this nonsense about how draconian they were going to be, and they were proud of it. You had Beto out there going, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15s, your AK-47s. You had Elizabeth Warren out there effectively trying to push socialism, while you had Kamala Harris literally trying to push communism. At that point in time, AOC was the most popular and powerful politician in the Democrat Party, and she was straight up pushing communism. But the thing is that the Democrat voters didn't want to vote for that. They did not follow the Democrat Party to the hard left. They needed somebody a little more moderate, and Joe Biden just so happened to fit that bill. Not to mention Joe Biden had name power behind him. He was the VP during the golden era of the modern Democrat Party. So why not put him up, despite the fact that he was clearly not fit at all to be leader of the free freaking world? Clearly not. There was something wrong with him, and we all knew it. We could see it. It was right in front of our eyes, but the media had their marching orders. But we'll talk about that in a second. I want to go over what happened recently that really should wake people up to how the Democrats feel about Joe Biden. Because it's not necessarily... Republicans, we all know the truth. Conservatives, libertarians, independents, we all know the truth about Joe Biden and how he is, where his mental state is at. What really interests me is how the Democrats look at Joe Biden. The Democrats seem to... They're eyeing Biden, man. They're getting their daggers ready. Beware the Ides of March. That's where we are right now. What's up, David? How's it going, man? New here. I love Red State. It is the best news story. You're damn right it is, buddy. Thank you so much, David. Welcome to the stream, my friend. By the way, story by Nicarama. Yep, this is by Nicarama. Thank you, Red. And in the Missouri-Missouri debate, depends on what side of the Mason-Dixon line you reside on. I have heard both, and I've always called it Missouri. It's just Missouri. I've met no one who calls it Missouri unless it's a politician trying to say it to make themselves seem like they're more from Missouri more than anybody else. The videos of Biden meandering around seeking attention after the event was pretty telling. Yes, and we're about to watch that right now. This is from Nicarama. Biden looks completely out of it during Obama White House visit. Barack Obama was back at the White House on Tuesday for the first time since he left back in 2017. He was there for the recognition of the 12th anniversary of the Affordable Care Act, or Obamacare, which resulted in many people, including me, losing the health care plans they had, despite Obama's lie that you could keep your plan.
And because the majority of Americans did have health care, some people naturally worried that they'd lose what they had.
If you like your health care plan, you can keep it, was the lie of the year 2013, as the RNC Research Twitter account pointed out, which is funny. They're still sitting on that, as if like, oh yeah, we made sure a lot of people got good health care. No, they didn't, dude. Premiums went up beyond belief after the passage of that bill. Many people lost their health care. I never even signed up, and I had to pay these stupid fees because I never did it. I was a broke kid too, man. I was broke, and they still decided to break me more. And this was supposed to help poor people. It wasn't supposed to help poor people. I think it was a legacy thing. We passed socialist healthcare. Give us applause and praise. We did it. Us Democrats provided the poor. You know, if you were poor and you had Obamacare, it wasn't the best care ever, to be honest with you. And if you were rich, your premiums went up. Like, it was not helpful. Thank God Trump cut the legs out from under it. As my colleague Mike Miller observed earlier, Obama's "if you like your health care plan, you can keep it" promise was named PolitiFact's 2013 Lie of the Year, one of the few times they were actually honest. He made the same promise about, quote, your doctor, with the same results. Also infamously promised the average family health insurance premium would increase or decrease by $2,500 in the first year. Premiums increased by more than 60% in the first 4 years. I had a friend with 2 kids, and her premiums went up 8 times what they normally were. Horrible. But there he was with Joe Biden trying to sell how wonderful it is that we all had to pay more, assuming we could even get the good coverage or the doctor we liked that we may have had before. If Obama thought he was going to make Joe Biden look better by his visit, his appearance may have had the opposite effect. One of the things that soon became apparent, there was the striking difference in look between Obama and Joe Biden. Obama, while older than he was in office, is still coherent and energetic, unlike Joe Biden, who looked even older and more out of it next to Obama. Obama joked about Biden still being his vice president.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Have a seat. Thank you. Vice President Biden, Vice President. That was a joke.
That was a joke. Yes, it was, but it was also a joke I think was totally planned out, if I'm being honest. Okay? I think that their whole entire shtick was they're going to make that joke to re-energize, give faith and hope back to the Democrat Party by being able to pretend for even just a second that Obama's back in charge and Joe Biden's on the sidelines. Because if you're a Democrat and he says that, like, you get a little thrill up your leg, you know? They're laughing so hard. See, that's what I'm talking about. They're so giddy about it. And then they reinforce the joke.
Thank you very much. Please. My name is Joe Biden. I'm Barack Obama's vice president.
They're really hammering on that. I think that that was a morale thing. I think that they really wanted to remind people that Joe Biden was there during the golden era. Back when the Democrats really meant something. Barack Obama was president and they had sway over the country. Now they don't have any sway over the country, despite the fact that they own the executive branch, the Senate, and the House. They're doing nothing. No one wants to, they can't move to save their lives. 2 of their own party members are consistently standing in their way on passing anything. And thank God for that too, by the way. Thank God. This was just a mess. I think he's trying to say they had some experience to be able to pull through what America's Rescue Plan because of the work done on Obamacare, but he doesn't seem to know what he's saying. And this is one of those moments right here.
The American Rescue Plan subsidizes that are lowering premiums and extending coverage. And I got a little practice when you gave me that other act, when we were president. You were president. I was with you.
The poor guy can hardly string a sentence together. I don't know. Like, does anybody else feel bad whenever they see? I'll get to that in a second because this is a big part of why I think the Democrats are about to basically kick Joe Biden to the curb. I didn't think anything that big about this, by the way. Joe Biden reaches into his pocket, pulls something out. I think it's like a pill of some kind, maybe a Tums. I don't know, but he takes it. I don't think that that's big of a deal. I don't think it's a snack that he was taking. I think he was medicating, which, you know what, dude? By all means, I've had to like break out the Tums, okay? I've had to break out the Tums in random times. But here's the part that I started to really feel bad for Joe Biden. It's right here. Look at him. He looks confused and lost. He doesn't know what he's doing. Everyone is going to talk to Barack Obama. He is standing there by himself. Look at him. He is in an island. He doesn't know what to do. Everyone is so focused on Barack Obama, and he's literally just standing there like, I'm lost. No one wants to talk to him. He's just standing there by himself in his own house as president. And this is another part that really gets to me. Joe Biden, he's trying to get Barack Obama's attention. Everyone's focused. Look, and you know what? You know what's weird? You know what's weird to me? Look at Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris has completely blocked Joe Biden out. She is standing next to Barack Obama. She's talking to Barack Obama. She's on his arm. Is this, this can be one of two things, okay? We can, look, here. Tinfoil hat time, okay? Tinfoil hat time. Either Kamala Harris is, they're trying to set her up as the guy or the woman who takes over for Joe Biden soon, which I think is very much going to happen, or is Kamala Harris just gravitating and trying to stand next to Barack Obama in order to make herself seem like the more important person in the room? She is in Obama's inner circle, not Joe Biden. Just that's a little tinfoil hat theory for you. Obama is truly pulling his strings. Oh my God, I can't even stand his voice. Here's the thing. I think as far as, look, Biden definitely isn't in charge. Somebody else is definitely behind him. I think the same people who are advising Obama might be the same person who are telling Joe Biden what to do. And if you actually look at Obama's advisors, many of them were incredibly hard leftists. If you look at a lot of the decisions that are being made right now from the Biden administration, they do not make any sense unless you look at it through the lens of extreme leftists and their checklists. That's the only time it makes sense. Obama, I think, was not as moderate as many people think that he was. I think that he actually did open the door for this hard lurch to the left which is why you kind of saw it happen around that time. And I think that legacy definitely continued into the Joe Biden administration, despite the fact that Joe Biden was supposed to be this moderate. He was posing as one, but really it wasn't Joe Biden that was ever making the decisions. It was the people behind him. And the people behind him, I think, are the people who were being directed by Obama. So, David, in a way, you're probably not wrong. Obamacare mandate was the worst. Obamacare wasn't about improving health care. It was about forcing more control and a boon for health insurance. Absolutely. And that kind of really sums up the Democrat modus operandi. It's really, in the end, about control. A joke with a joke about a joke. All the jokes. It's look at how many jokes are being told about that whole VP thing. I think Kamala thought that they were going to kiss first. God, that's so awkward. Every time I hear him talk, I think about Charlie Brown. Oh my God, that tinfoil hat. Do you like that tinfoil hat? That was made for me by Red. We know how she works with powerful. John woke up this morning and chose violence. All right, let's continue. I want y'all to look at Joe Biden's face this entire time. While this plays, look at Joe Biden's face. Focus in on it. He is currently trying to get Obama's attention. He's trying to be one of the it crowd. He feels that he deserves to be there, rightfully so. He is president of the United States, after all. This whole entire room should be gravitating around him, but they're not. They're gravitating around Obama. And Biden wants a piece of that. But you've got Kamala Harris blocking him out. No one's looking at Joe Biden. No one's talking to him. Everyone wants to talk to Barack Obama. And Joe Biden is trying to get Obama's attention. Watch Joe Biden's face as he continues to fail to do that. Look at this poor guy. His face is clearly... It's sad. It's really sad. It is really sad. This dude was trying to get Obama his president's attention, and he was being ignored. And you could see his face just kind of like there's a little bit of pain there. It's very sad. And I don't know, I feel horrible for him. I feel absolutely horrible for him. And here's the thing, Tucker Carlson that night kind of covered it. And he really highlighted how Joe Biden is basically, he was a useful tool. But his usefulness is run out. And I kind of want to let this play. I want to comment on what Tucker said, because Tucker, as usual, really nails this. And while I am not a fan of Joe Biden at all, and he has had he was a corrupt man who led a corrupt career, he still just wallows in corruption. He kind of brought himself to this point, but it's almost sad that you kind of see this, you know? The hat is a nice touch. Thank you. YouTube got him so much for free speech. They've tried to get me before, I can tell you that. I love the still frame expression on Obama's face. Completely disrespectful, purposely stealing Biden's thunder. But here's the thing. It's like, Jen, the question you might want to ask is, did he purposely steal Joe Biden's thunder? Or is Joe Biden just that ineffective as an attention getter and a personable guy that someone like Barack Obama, who, by the way, walked in with all of this like golden child mentality thrust upon him by the mainstream media and Democrat voters, people just naturally gravitated toward him. He almost couldn't help it. Now, if Barack Obama, probably should have shown more respect, and this is probably one of the things that we're going to speak about. Barack Obama should have shown Joe Biden far more respect, but he didn't. And I'm not sure if it's because Barack Obama didn't notice because Joe Biden is so ineffective at getting attention, or, as Tucker Carlson is going to kind of say, did they ignore Joe Biden because they can now? Is it just something that, his usefulness has run out? So why do we need to pay any reverence to the guy? Both, you can tell Barry was getting his narcissist tank filled. 100%. 100. This is Obama's third term, has been pulling Biden strings. Possibly. Classic Barry, though not sure Biden has much thunder to see. Exactly. All right, let's watch this. Let's watch this little clip from Tucker Carlson, who just absolutely nails this entire situation.
Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. It's hard to remember.
Welcome
now
to Tucker
history's
Carlson.
pretty hazy, but it was just 3 years ago that Joe Biden was considered too decrepit, too corrupt, too out of touch ever to be president. And that wasn't just the view from the right, by the way. They mostly stayed out of it. That's what faithful Democrats were saying. In 2019, 3 separate neoliberal news outlets, The Guardian, The Week, and CNN, all
Joe's
published
hand was
op-eds
on
with
Obama's
the
shoulder.
exact same
That's
headline.
the
Why
sad
Joe
part.
Biden shouldn't run for president. Other publications made the same point with equal vehemence. I really like Joe Biden, but he shouldn't run for president, said a columnist for USA Today.
I remember that article. I remember that USA Today article. There were a lot of people on especially Democrat Twitter, leftist Twitter, was effectively begging Joe Biden not to run. He was a politician who was well past his prime. The party had moved on. His belief systems were not compatible with the Democrat Party as it currently was. I think many Democrats sensed that if he did run, he would win, and then he would drag the party down, and they were right. But I can remember how when it first began, when the primaries were kicking off, people were going, please, Joe Biden, stay out of it. Stay out of it, please. But the DNC had different plans.
Joe Biden is not helping, declared Rolling Stone, as if the goal was to help. And actually, Biden's family agreed with this. This is true. They did not want him to be president either. Some of Biden's closest relatives assured friends that Biden was running merely to work off the grief from his son's death 2 years before. It made a kind of sense. He needed to get out on the road and clear his head, and a campaign was the way to do that. He knew he wasn't going to win. And for months, it seemed all but assured that he wouldn't win. Biden's first debate performance in June was widely written off as a disaster. It seemed pretty obvious he had zero chance at the nomination. And then Bernie Sanders started to win primaries. For the second presidential cycle in a row, Sanders proved to be the only Democrat in the field with legitimate grassroots support. Donors saw this and they panicked. The guy who hates billionaires? What's he going to do to Wall Street?
100%. Yeah, Tucker Carlson is really nailing this. So the whole entire thing was they wanted Joe Biden out of it, but then Bernie Sanders really started gaining momentum. And the DNC, if there's anybody that the DNC hates more than Trump, it's Bernie Sanders. The only reason they tolerate Bernie Sanders is because he has that grassroots support that Tucker Carlson just mentioned. But Bernie Sanders is dangerous. You would think that a guy who represents the people, quote unquote, and wants to really spread the wealth around and is, very socialistic, you would think that the Democrat Party, those that are in power, the brass at the DNC, would embrace him because he is everything that the party has basically embraced themselves, supposedly. But they hate Bernie Sanders because, as Tucker Carlson just said, Bernie Sanders, all the stuff that the Democrat Party claims to be all about, Bernie Sanders really is all about. These rich people, these donors, and the people in charge at the DNC don't really want Bernie Sanders' mentality to be a thing. They don't want to have to lead by example and give up their money and stop being rich and spread the wealth around. They don't really want that. That's horrible. They just want you to think they want that. So when Bernie Sanders, for the second time, started gaining traction, because remember, they did this back in 2016. They screwed him in 2016 when he was running against Hillary. They betrayed Bernie, backstabbed him. Whenever he starts gaining any kind of popularity, the DNC intervenes and tries to do anything they possibly can to throw a curveball and direct people away from him and toward whatever candidate they feel deserves to be in charge. Someone that will make them richer, make them more powerful. The DNC is as corrupt as it comes. They tell you that they're the party of the people, they're the party of the working man, the party of women, the party of minorities, the party of the LGBT community. They tell you all this, but really when push comes to shove, they are a party of power. That's what they really care about. That is their primary goal. It's power. They will use anybody and anything in order to achieve it. They will use you. They will use your dog. They will use your gay cousin. It doesn't matter. They don't care. So long as it gets them power, that is what they care about.
So Sanders was unacceptable to the people who fund the Democratic Party, but there was a problem. What were the options? Pete Buttigieg and Beto O'Rourke? No. Both had turned out to be lighter than air. Elizabeth Warren? Double no. Kamala Harris was horrible on every level. Absolutely nobody liked Kamala Harris.
No one remembers that Kamala Harris dropped out early.
So it turned out to be Joe Biden by default. Get off the Biden signs. We're all in. And of course, the media got the message immediately. By the time he was inaugurated, here's what the press corps was telling you about Joe Biden.
Anybody who has any connection
By the way,
to reality.
What you're about to see is a perfect example of how the media has a very bad habit. And I shouldn't say bad habit, it's a strategy. It's a proven strategy that has worked wonders in the past. They unite together as one from station to station, brand to brand, and they repeat the same phrase over and over again so that you get it. You get it. They introduce this phrase into your lexicon and attribute it to whichever person or party they want to, whether it's good or ill. Media Matters, during the Barack Obama era, they were in charge of effectively creating the talking points for the media to go by. And for those of you who don't know, Media Matters is a hard leftist, Soros-controlled, break out the tinfoil hat. No, it's his thing. It's effectively a media talking point distribution center. And they used to spread the message. Here's the words that you say. Here's the talking points that you hit. And you keep hitting these talking points over and over and over. This is what you're about to see right now. Bernie supporters are bigger marks than people who think pro wrestling is real. Dude, if you're a believer in socialism, you're about equivalent of a flat earther. That's just the way it is. Socialism has never worked. It will never work. We are the wrong species for it. And if you think that you can push socialism on people, you might as well just start saying the earth is flat. I take you about that seriously. Quick in and out just to say hi. Super busy today. Off to my next meeting. Dennis, thank you so much for stopping by. Much love to you. Hope your day's good, man. Both my grandparents died from Alzheimer's, and they acted like Joe Biden. I'm sorry that, yeah. But mine, one of mine did too, and I agree. It's very similar. A lot of similar stuff there. Bernie Sanders is a commie, just like the far. I mean, he was singing songs in Russia back in the day with fellow communists. They're against everything unless it's politically expedient. Then, when no longer expedient, tossed to the side, just like the subject of today's stream.
About what is going on around them, should have watched that and said, the adults are back in the room.
It seems as though we have a professional adult once again in the White House who's just simply doing the work.
Really, the theme, I would say, is the adults are back.
Still, it is a relief to have adults in charge.
Now we have adults in the White House.
Okay, the adults are back in the room.
There is a sense, I think, the world over that the adults have returned.
We have an adult in the White House now, and it's glorious.
These people. Never an original thought among them.
And
He's
it's
an adult.
glorious.
It's glorious. Well, half true. Biden is certainly an adult. He'll be 80 this fall. But no one in Washington thinks the Biden presidency is glorious anymore. They think it's a...
Joe Biden's the kind of guy that when a kid sees him, she's like, I need an adult. And Joe Biden just leans in and goes, I am an adult.
Disaster. Polls show that voters strongly agree. Joe Biden is now the most unpopular person in virtually any room he enters. If you doubt it, watch this. This was the scene at the White House today. Take a careful look at this. You've never seen anything like it.
That is so sad. Professional adult.
That's the President of the United States in his own house, shunned. Nobody would talk to him. So Biden wandered off looking vacant.
The pain
as
on
a
his
crowd
face
formed
is
around a
literally
former
makes me
president,
feel
Barack
bad for
Obama,
him.
who was obviously deeply grateful for the attention. And then it got worse. It got much more poignant than that. Watch Biden try to horn in on the conversation swirling around Obama. Everyone involved in that conversation, including Kamala Harris, who supposedly works for Biden, ignored Biden completely. Biden desperately tried
Her
to get
hand is
Obama's
on his
attention.
shoulder
He
and
puts his
everything.
hand on Obama's shoulder.
Yeah.
He even calls him Barack, like they're friends. But Obama blows him off. He acts like Biden's not even there. Ask yourself if you have ever in your life seen anything sadder than this.
I feel so bad for him. I shouldn't, but I do. Please pay attention to me.
Ah, make it stop. It's
So
awful.
horrible.
Now, it's true that Barack Obama has never liked Joe Biden. For the 8 years they worked together, Obama mocked him relentlessly as an old white guy. He did his best to keep Biden at the periphery. That's why he got the Ukraine account, fatefully. But even someone as arrogant as Barack Obama can pretend if he has to pretend. And that's the point of the video we just showed you. Obama no longer has to pretend.
Yeah.
He can tell the world in the clearest possible terms that he has no respect for Joe Biden, because at this point, nobody has respect for Joe Biden.
Even making
Biden's
jokes.
most faithful supporters in the press corps have turned.
Even making jokes that he is his vice president is still kind of like, really, I know it's supposed to be a joke, but it's almost a slap in the face. A little bit. And they make the joke twice. Like, do you honestly think that if Joe Biden was doing a really good job and was putting himself up as a good leader, that Barack Obama would have made a joke like that? Maybe, I don't know. I kind of wonder, really. It just almost seems kind of like they did that to make the Democrats, the press there, feel giddy again. Like, oh, we're back in the golden days. We can pretend for a minute because it's fun to pretend. I kind of just get the sense that, like, if Biden was an actual leader, Obama might have been at the White House a lot more. Instead, he's avoided the White House. He hasn't been there for a while. He hasn't really spoken to Joe Biden. And if y'all remember correctly, Barack Obama didn't really endorse Joe Biden until he had to. You know? It's just something to really think about. I don't think that these two have that relationship. It's all for show. But then again, once again, that's the Democrats in a nutshell. The Democrats are falling, even the Latinos and African Americans are turning towards Republicans. Everybody is tired of the control freaks. Absolutely they are. Professional. Oh, I read that one. With God Bless America in the background. Yeah. Gotta love that Edison Carterish blip message synchronization that permeates cubicle news. Yeah, it's amazing. They do it all the time. Always pay attention, because if you go from CNN to MSNBC to ABC, CBS, you'll notice that they're all using the same terms. And that's not an accident. They've been doing that for years. I feel bad for Biden. This is not how presidential protocol is supposed to work. It is a terrible image of the USA seen plainly to the world. Exactly. I'm going to get to that in a second too. It's not about the man, it's about the office. No, I mean, it is sad for him, but it's really sad for us and the world. Yep, I'm about to get into how this is actually more reflective on us than it is on Biden. Biden should go Will Smith. He didn't insult Jill Biden. Then start singing like a canary. Adults more like preschool. Yup.
on him. Watch this.
For President Biden, the outlook is pretty grim. War abroad, anxiety at home, and inflation at its highest level in 40 years.
Sky-high inflation is erasing bigger paychecks. While hourly earnings are up 5.6% over last year, nearly 1 in 5 workers says they run out of money before they get their next check.
You have historic inflation. You have record gas prices.
They never would do this to Obama. The press would have been doing everything in its power to make any problem that Barack Obama was going through seem like it was not a big deal. Look at the press. They don't care. Barack Obama, Joe Biden for them is the weak dog. Now they're just like, they don't care anymore. It's almost like they're preparing to get rid of him.
Americans are feeling it.
Biden's numbers have dropped by double digits with young voters, and they were a big part of his coalition in 2020.
Voter anxiety is about more than rising prices or Russia's war in Ukraine. Violent crime in American cities remains persistently high, and there is a growing problem at the border.
President Biden's approval rating still hasn't found bottom.
They are just letting him have it.
Trending down all year.
Oh, wait a second. Correction, breaking news. It looks like inflation is real. It's not transitory. It's actually making us poor. Crime and disorder in the cities are real, too. And guess what? It looks like a totally pointless war with Russia is not as popular as we thought it was.
Ooh.
You're not a traitor for not wanting it. All of a sudden, they're admitting all of this. For months, Biden's been telling us that every bad thing you notice around you is, of course, Vladimir Putin's fault, and the media have backed him up. But suddenly, they aren't backing him up anymore. Ready to be shocked again? Watch a group of liberal toadies demolish the Biden White House's favorite talking point. Here it is.
And every time we talk about gas prices, Democrats do, President Biden does, it's always Putin's price hike. They're trying to blame, of course, the Russian president and the invasion of Ukraine for the jump in prices. But of course, as polling suggests, this president is going to take a lot of the blame here.
Biden has called it a Putin price hike, but most Americans aren't buying it.
With the midterms now just a few months away and inflation at a record high, the president is now putting the blame squarely on Vladimir Putin, calling this the Putin price hike. But as Republicans and the president's critics have been quick to note, gas prices were already rising before Russia started this war.
The White House is trying to do...
The people who were supposed to tell you that the emperor had clothes when he was wearing none are pointing out themselves that the emperor is completely naked. And not only that, the shield that the Biden administration created to protect themselves from blame for the rising gas prices and the inflation hikes, the hyperinflation happening in this country right now, the media is stripping him of his own shield. They are leaving him vulnerable to attack. A Democrat president in the White House. That is a big freaking deal. That does not happen. This is the mainstream media does not do this. They do not attack a sitting Democrat president in the White House. They just don't do it. But here they are, for the first time in a long time, actually telling you the truth about what's really happening and who is behind it. The guy that they helped get elected. This is a big deal. This is nuts. And I don't think that we understand the gravity of the situation here. This never happens. This is insane. The mainstream media attacking a sitting Democrat president and blaming him for the big problems that we're having. Midterms are coming up. And if the president is really, really bad, then it reflects on the entire party. And here they are, with midterms approaching, trying to effectively put Biden out there to be demolished. You kind of have to wonder if they are preparing to cut ties to send him floating off on the iceberg from the mainland in order to save themselves. They're trying to isolate the issue. It almost kind of seems like that right now. Telegraphing their next move. Exactly, Susie. Is that not a little crazy?
To do both. Blame Putin, blame the oil and gas companies, but Americans just don't agree.
What? Now they tell us, is your head spinning yet? Yeah. Okay, just one more. Here's Sandy Cortez, who has finally turned on Joe Biden. Now, it was just a year and a half ago that Sandy's job was to use all the street cred she'd earned growing up in the leafy suburbs of Westchester.
I love the way that he talks about
Boston University. To use all of that urban credibility to convince the young people that actually Joe Biden was okay. Yeah, he's old and white, but go ahead and vote for him anyway. He's got Sandy's seal of approval. Selling Joe Biden was her job, and of course she did it. She's always been much more a dutiful party apparatchik than a revolutionary. But not anymore. Sandy Cortez sees change coming. If there's one thing she's good at, it's knowing the prevailing wind. So she's happy to attack Biden. Watch this.
John Brodigan, the most beautiful man I know, is currently in the chat. Thank you for coming. You pretty bastard. What's up, man? Thanks for showing up. Love that you're here. Welcome to the party.
We need to acknowledge that this isn't just about middle of the road, an increasingly narrow band of independent voters. But this is really about the collapse in support among young people, among the Democratic base, feeling like that they worked overtime to get this president elected, and they aren't necessarily being seen.
There's no possible way. There's no possible way that even she comes up there and says that without them effectively gearing up to cut ties with Biden. They're going to put everything that the Democrat Party has done wrong up to this point on Biden, and then they're going to shove him out. They're already starting to ignore him. They're snubbing him at his own events. The media is talking truth, which is nuts, about what the Biden administration has been screwing up on, which they would never do otherwise. You have AOC, who is technically the leader of the radical left part of the Democrat Party, now also saying that Joe Biden has screwed up. It's all Joe Biden. We worked overtime to get him elected, and now look at us. There's no possible way that they do this and not cut ties with Biden. They are about to tear him apart and shove him out on his butt. 110%.
That means everyone's out. What's going on here? Well, exactly what it looks like. The Democratic Party and its media wing have decided to jettison Joe Biden. There was never an official order to do this. What you're watching here, as always, is the hive mind at work. Democrats have the same reactions because they have the same instincts. Biden is weak. We must get rid of him. Now, to most people, that sounds harsh and unforgiving, but in the animal kingdom, it's an entirely natural response. It's the first rule of dog packs, for example. If a single dog wavers or lags behind, the other dogs will kill him, even if they're from the same litter. Yes, it's fratricide, but it's nothing personal. It's a matter of group survival. And that's exactly how the Democratic Party operates. Individuals are irrelevant to the party. The group is all that matters. No one at the DNC actually cares about Joe Biden or ever has, or for that matter, cares about George Floyd or Greta Thunberg or David Hogg or anyone else they tell you is an irreplaceable hero. All people are expendable. What matters is the party, and the party matters because in numbers there is power.
Tucker is saying something that I've been saying for a long time, and I said it earlier in this stream. There is no one person who is invaluable. You don't matter to the Democrat Party. It doesn't matter. Your group doesn't matter to the Democrat Party. I'll give you a perfect example. For a long time, the Democrat Party thought that it was the party of minorities. The Hispanic population, for instance, was basically to them on lock. All right, they go out and they spread all these rumors about how Republicans hate Latinos and Mexicans and anyone south of the border. Hate them. And if they would just vote for the Democrats. Democrats would give Latino voters everything that they ever wanted. Latino voters, having had gone through, many of them, gone through communism themselves, started coming into the U.S., and they started turning Latino communities Republican because they see in the Democrat Party, especially as it currently is right now, the echoes of the politics and the dictatorial governments that they just left. It should be very interesting to you that they have a really bad porous border problem. You have illegal immigrants streaming across the U.S. border. But if there are people who are coming here from Cuba, or if there are people coming here from Venezuela, they do not want them here. They have orders, especially for Cubans. If you find Cubans coming here and they've escaped here, turn them away. They have to go back to Cuba. They can't be here. The reason being is because Cubans tend to come here and they vote Republican. They don't want Cubans here. They'll take everybody else. So over time, the Latino community has started to turn to the Republican Party. You have counties in Texas that were blue for a very long time, Democrat controlled for a very long time, suddenly going red. Now it seems that the Democrat Party doesn't seem to care as much about Latinos as they once did. If tomorrow the LGBT community all started voting Republican, the Democrat Party would become so anti-gay so fast. Because it's not about you. It's not about care for a group. It's not about the working man. LGBT groups, transgender rights, women's rights, equality, this, racism. It's not about any of that. It is about power, period. There's no getting away from it. The Democrats care about that and that alone. Joe Biden was a path to power. They didn't want him at first, but they figured out that he was the only way that they were going to get there. So they used him. They took a guy who was well past his prime. He was clearly suffering from mental disabilities. His cognitive decline was apparent to everybody, and they still ran him. There were moments that I got to show you this one moment, and it's the moment that solidified it for me. There was he was giving a speech online. It was live. And he was giving this speech, and I'm going to show it to you guys here in a second as soon as this. It was this moment right here. When you think about it.
Thank you all. Thank you all for listening. Oh.
He didn't know what he was doing or what he was supposed to do. Jill Biden came in.
Thanks.
To kind of fill the debate. She is
okay.
They just stand there for a minute staring at the camera. She goes away. She has to call him off the stage. He didn't know what he was doing.
This is going to sound
crazy. He didn't know what to do.
Shut up, Brandon.
He didn't know what to do. She had, and it was at that moment that I was like, God, this guy can't run. He can't run. If they make him run, it'll be one of the cruelest things the Democrat Party has ever done to a person. In modern times, I should say. You know, there was that whole slavery thing. But Joe Biden, his usefulness has run out now. And not only has his usefulness run out, he's become a detriment to the party. He's become a detriment to the party, not only because he doesn't make any good decisions or he can't make, he stumbles on speeches all the time. He has to run away from the press. They won't let him talk to anybody. He clearly has no gravitas. He doesn't have the charm of Barack Obama, that's for sure. He doesn't really get anything done. He embarrasses himself. He slips and falls both physically and metaphorically. And then on top of that, you have the corruption issues that he's got going on in the background with his family, with Hunter Biden, which we're going to get into in a second. Joe Biden has become an issue. He is weighing the party down. And this hero, this guy that was going to unite us and bring us all together, he's the only man for the job. He can get it done. The United States needs to respect this storied individual who was at Barack Obama's right hand. He knows how to get the job done. He's the one who can actually go out and make the right deals with countries. He's the one who's going to fix every single problem we ever had and going to save the world, save the environment. Now all that enthusiasm is gone. He is a detriment to the party. He's a liability. Now they're gonna set him. They gotta put all the blame on him. This hero. They're gonna put it all on him and shove him out the door. That's the Democrat Party. There are no heroes in the Democrat Party. They're only useful tools. And once that tool stops being useful, gone. Yout. Bye. Go away. This is a badass show. Thank you. Thank you very much, David. I really appreciate it. Come back again. We'll be live again on Friday. We the people see right through it. Exactly. The Cubans dealing with Bernie. Dude, one of the best speeches I heard during the RNC was the guy who was it? I think he came from Venezuela or Cuba, one of those countries. And I was just like, I was enraptured by his speech. And I was like, anybody listening to this speech, if you hear this and don't feel a little bit in your heart that maybe the way that the Democrat Party is going is bad, then you are under complete control. What's it going to do? Put Kamala Harris in that? Well, I mean, I hate to say this, David, but at the moment, she's the only one who I think can probably get into that spot. I don't know how they're going to get Kamala out. They might have a quarter brain between the two of them. They're putting this puppet back in the box and shipping him out. Yep, because Cubans mostly vote Republican. Oh yeah, exactly. So they're completely and totally. They're a little bit of a liability now. So they're a threat to the power. If they're a threat to power, they can't be allowed to have a say. In fact, they need to be denounced, kicked out of the country if possible. Here's one of the biggest problems that Joe Biden is also facing right now, and the media is having to still work to make it seem like it's not that big of a deal. Because if the Hunter Biden stories are true, then what other kind of corruptions are currently circulating throughout the Democrat Party? And it's good to ask questions because this technically all happened during the Obama administration. Did Obama know about it? Was anybody in Obama's White House privy to it? But let's go ahead and dive into this real fast because I don't have that much time left. White House grilled on Joe Biden's knowledge for Hunter's dealings and need for special counsel. Very interesting moment. Peter Doocy asked Psaki if Biden would support the appointment of a special counsel to assure independence of the investigation into Hunter Biden's laptop.
On another topic, a lot of stories about Hunter Biden surfacing this week. So to ensure
Doocy's the only dude in the room doing his job, by the way.
Would the president support the appointment of a special counsel?
Well, first, the president has never had a conversation with the Department of Justice about any investigations into any member of his family. He said that during the campaign, and he will continue to abide by that. So I'd point you to the Department of Justice for any additional steps they would take. They would make those decisions independently.
Is there any concern that they're not going to be necessarily seen as being able to make the decisions independently if the White House Chief of Staff is out saying that the president is confident his son did not break the law?
Well, that's something the president has said, and certainly we would echo. But in the same answer to that question, Peter, during an interview this week on ABC, Ron Klain also said the Justice Department is independent and they will make their own decisions.
A simple no would have sufficed. So they're not going to investigate. They're not going to assure that independent counsel is achieved or used for this. And why should they? It's too dangerous. Clearly, there's something going on here.
And they will make their own decisions.
And the president has said that he never spoke to his son about his overseas business dealings. Is that still the case?
Yes. Go ahead.
So,
if that's the case, if that is true, and Joe Biden never knew what Hunter Biden was getting up to, what's the deal with this picture right here? Because it seems to me that these people were very involved with Joe Biden in Ukraine. And here they are posing in the vice president's office. What's that about? The photo published by Kazakhstani anti-corruption website shows Joe Biden meeting Hunter's alleged business partners from Kazakhstan. What? It really does seem to me that Joe Biden's corruption goes well beyond the White House, and it was happening during the Barack Obama administration. They're trying to work overtime to cover that up, the press is. After finally covering Hunter Biden's email scandal, liberal media breaks sound barrier rushing to protect Joe. By the way, I hate the use of that word liberal to describe the left, right? I absolutely can't stand it. But not judging my fellow writers. I just personally, I hate using the word liberal to describe them because these people are anything but liberal. I know it's like a very common term in use, but I feel like it's one of those terms that the left has managed to make people call them in order to make them seem like they're the party of freedom, and they're not the party of freedom. They're clearly not. So the media is trying to work to protect them. And by the way, this is from Mike Miller. Mike Miller also, he writes some seriously great articles over at Red State. Go to redstate.com right now. And check out the articles that I am talking about. Also, if you haven't, like the stream. Press like on the stream right now. If you haven't already. If you're enjoying what you see. Everybody knew about this. Yeah, well, you know, we even got a major report out of the New York Post, which was censored. Couldn't talk about it. More progressive projection. It's too late for the Democrat Party. They have gone too far left. There ain't no coming back. That is an interesting topic for another stream because I think that there is, but it's going to take effectively what's going to amount to an ideological war between the Democrats. And someone like Kyrsten Sinema effectively is going to have to come out on top. You know, Joe Manchin is probably going to have to lead some kind of Democrat Party versus the radical Democrat Party kind of inter-party warfare. And I think Joe Manchin's going to have to, Kyrsten Sinema, Joe Manchin, they're going to have to win that war, which I think that they could. But that's for another stream because we could get stun locked on that real easy. So how is this all kind of coming around? Well, have a good day. I got to go take care of the next generation of conservatives. Thank you, David, so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it, man. Again, we're live on Friday, noon. Be here, bud. Thanks for stopping in. Tuesday's elections provide consternation for Democrats, more evidence of a coming red wave. If you don't live in such states as California, Georgia, or Wisconsin, you may have been unaware there were various elections going on last night. A mix of local and special elections took place, including the first step in a special election to replace recently retired GOP rep Devin Nunes. Given what we know about the current electoral environment, namely that it's terrible for Democrats, the results weren't shocking, but they did provide more evidence of a coming red wave as November's midterms approach. In California 22, the Republicans cleaned up at levels not seen in years. California 22 is plurality Hispanic district, see? That only went to Nunes by 5 points in 2018 and 8 in 2020. The last jungle primary that was held, March of 2020, saw the GOP collect only 56% of the vote. On Tuesday evening, Republicans looked to take around 64%, with the Republican and Democrat spread reaching around 18 points. Obviously, the margins are great for the GOP, but what's more impressive is that it is a district that is more Hispanic than the last time Republicans were winning by 15-plus points. If that translates to the general election, and past jungle primaries have to a large degree, it would mean that GOP gains among Hispanics aren't just happening in the Rio Grande Valley, but everywhere. Meanwhile, in Wisconsin, Republicans flipped local offices in Kenosha, Waukesha, I hope I said that right, including a first-ever victory. Samantha Kirkman becomes the first-ever Republican Kenosha County executive. Critical race theory and indoctrination of children were major issues in several Wisconsin school board elections, leading to anti-CRT candidates walking away winners. Look at all this. Go to redstate.com, check out Bonchi's article because it's all this information is interesting, and I'm going to break this down. The results actually had some Democrats celebrating, but that's a complete misread. This was another jungle primer, which means that while Mitchell McKay only got 41.6% as a Republican, 2 other Republicans totaled up 18.5% of the vote. In 2020, the GOP took 55% of the vote, so the margins increased substantially. In a state as close as Georgia, even a 1-2 point overall move back towards Republicans could be the difference in winning or losing. In the end, these are all small data points, but they track exactly what we've seen over the last year in various other elections, including general elections that took place last November in states like Virginia. There is no evidence that Democrats are making up ground. Rather, Republicans seem well positioned to not only take back the House of Representatives, but to make big gains at that state level too. And in the end, it's those state level power structures that often deliver the most results. Okay, so all of this stuff with Joe Biden. Joe Biden is clearly weighing down the party. He makes the entire situation look bad for them. And not just on the federal level, but on the state level as well. Even local counties are suffering from this problem that the Democrat Party is having. It is leaderless, and it has gone so far to the left that people do not want any part of it anymore. As this article had stated, one of the biggest issues that was on the docket was critical race theory and basically teaching children these radical leftist values. Once again, parents are proving to be the most powerful unofficial political party in the nation, but the Democrat Party right now is eating itself alive. It is rudderless. It is a small group of people trying to convince a larger group of people of something, of values that they will not adopt themselves. What the Democrat Party really needs right now is a leader. A leader that knows what he's doing, has the charisma and charm to convince people of his side, but not just that, he needs to have the right mentality, the right ideals in order to have Americans vote for him again. What they need is another Barack Obama. But there isn't one. There is no other Barack Obama. Everybody who has stepped up to the plate has failed miserably. The only reason they used Joe Biden was because it was the only way to convince people to vote for a Democrat amongst a Democrat Party that had gone radically left. And now even he has proven to be basically not in any control whatsoever of the Democrat Party. The people, the radicals that they did not want to vote for, are pulling his strings. And people are turning away from the Democrat Party. The only thing that they have left, the Democrat Party, the only thing that they can do at this point in time is blame everything on the Biden administration and send him packing. Get him out. Cut ties. Put his career in the coffin. And hope that all of that will convince people that the Democrats that really, truthfully, the adults are actually in charge now. Now that we've got him gone, we can really get down to business. And don't worry about all that other stuff that happened. We're going to fix the problem. They're not going to fix the problem. Again, this Democrat Party does not care about you. It doesn't care about your situation, your hardships, your troubles. It doesn't care about your identity or any of the troubles that come with that. It's about power. Right now, their path to power involves probably cutting ties with him and convincing you that they're a different party altogether. They're not. They're the same party. They're the same. That kind of party, guys. No, they do not need a leader. They need to let what's going on keep going on until they are a trash heap of history. I mean, if they continue down this road, that's pretty much what's going to end up happening, John. 100%. Guys, that'll do it for me today. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, hanging out. Again, like the stream if you haven't already. Follow me on Twitter at @TheBrandonMorse and go to redstate.com. Everything that I've just talked about and more is on the website. We've got some really great information, some really great articles out here today. You definitely want to hang out there and see what's going on. Also, if you haven't yet, sign up for our VIP program. Our VIP program helps us out quite a bit. It is very cheap, and you can enter Morse, MRSE, for a discount on sign up. It'll help us not have to obey the rules set for us by big tech and these idiots who want to silence free speech and not let us talk about stuff. But thank you guys so much. Y'all have a good rest of your week. I will see y'all on Friday, noon, EST. Be there. Hopefully we'll have something fun to talk about by that point in time. Thank y'all all once again. I'll see y'all later. Peace.